Hi, all. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Thursday, July 14th, 2022, and you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. We have an awesome show for you today. How to Make Money with Tour Builder by LCP Media. And here to talk to us about that is LCP Media Chief Executive Officer Wojciech Kalembasa. Hey, Wojciech, thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, Dan, thank you for having me.
You are my favorite topic, how to make money. How
Absolutely.
to make money with 3D, 360 photography, real estate photography. Before we even jump into talking about what is LCP Media and Tour Builder and getting a demo, front end, back end, et cetera, let's just jump into the opportunity, even though we may be a little bit ahead of ourselves. What is it that you need that will help our audience make money?
Absolutely. Yeah. So LCP Media has been around for 10 years, and we service some of the largest multifamily managers, owners, developers across the nation. And we create virtual tours for them. And the way we can do that is we use a network of professional photographers and content creators to help us service these jobs and fulfill these jobs. And so there's a really exciting shift in trend when it comes to multifamily specifically and capturing virtual tours. And that's why I'm here today. We are looking for folks that are interested in teaming up with us and working with us so that we can fulfill these jobs that we're getting. And we're starting to get a lot of them, and they're nationwide.
So Ricoh Theta Z1.
Yes. Yeah. So we just released Tour Builder Go. Tour Builder Go is our mobile application. It allows anyone with a Ricoh Theta Z1 to capture virtual tours of any type of space. But in this case, we're talking about specifically apartment buildings, right? So you're capturing the inside of a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment using a Ricoh Theta Z1 teamed up with our phone application. And essentially, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at that, but I think what I'm hearing is, first and foremost, if you are a 360 photographer that uses a Ricoh Theta Z1 camera, go to lcpmedia.com/tourbuilderx. That's for Tour Builder Exchange. You'll talk about that, but go to lcpmedia.com/tourbuilderx and sign up.
Absolutely.
And that's why Media that you have a Ricoh Theta Z1 camera. If I don't have a Ricoh Theta Z1.
Yeah, so I'll backtrack a little bit. I think the WGAN network is perfect for what we're looking for, because a lot of the folks in your network have shot virtual tours using some form of 360 camera, whether it's a one-shot, a Matterport. So everyone here in this network has experience capturing these types of virtual tours. And that's why we're turning to WGAN and this community, because we know that everyone out there has the experience to do it. Now, our app specifically today works with the Ricoh Theta Z1, and so we're looking for folks with this type of camera. However, in the very near future, we're going to start adding other cameras into the mobile application. So that'll open up this to a wider range of folks. Now, if you don't have one of these cameras, but you're willing to purchase one, you can absolutely still sign up, even if you don't have one, because once we have interest in that area or your specific region, you might just want to buy one of those so you can participate in this and make money doing what we're trying to do here.
So essentially, if I don't have a Ricoh Theta Z1, but I have experience shooting 360 3D virtual tours, I should sign up anyway, and I can find out whether I'm going to get the first job or not, even before I have a camera, and then make the decision to say, based on that opportunity, sure, I'll go buy a Ricoh Theta Z1 so I can participate with the LCP Media opportunity that we're discussing today.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to be proactive here, and we know that the orders are going to start coming in. We just launched Tour Builder Go on June 15th. We went to one of the major shows that was held down in San Diego. There was a lot of talk about unit level tours, not only from us because we're creating unit level tours, but also from some of the major ILSs like apartments.com and Rent Period and Zillow. So everyone in this industry is talking about unit level data and how important it's going to be able to capture this type of data and have it, because it's going to assist in the leasing process. And as we know, because of COVID, just the way people shop, the way people rent apartments now, that entire trend has changed. Everyone's shopping online. Now, that hasn't changed. We've known about this for a while, right? So virtual tours are very popular. And however, though, now there has been studies done that if you have unit level data, you can actually convert prospects faster. And so if we're helping convert prospects faster by providing these unit level tours, that relieves the on-site teams on the multifamily side. So I'm talking about multifamily and apartment buildings. So they're able to save money, save time by having this type of data. So for them, it's going to be crucial to capture this stuff. Now, the tool itself is designed for anyone to be able to create one of these virtual tours. So a lot of our customers are going to be out there shooting their own model units by themselves, right? However, we've realized that a huge part of this industry does not want to shoot their own virtual tours. They don't have the ability, they don't have the bandwidth. And that's where the community comes in. That's why it's crucial for us to build a network of folks that have the experience, have the equipment, and are willing to go out there and shoot these types of units. I'm going to go as far as saying that this potentially could be, it has Uber written all over, the Uber type of service where someone has a model unit that just became available, and they need to get somebody out there that day or the next day to go out there and capture that unit. And so we're trying to build a community of folks that can help us fulfill those jobs.
Well, Uber of 360 is not necessarily something that's exciting from a photographer's standpoint, perhaps. Or maybe you could give me the spin of why it actually makes sense, because Uber doesn't necessarily exude, I'm going to make a lot of money doing this. So sure. as a real estate photographer, and if LCP Media has the Uber of shooting 360 tours, why should I be excited about that?
So, it's about, our world is about scale, and it's about right now. Everyone wants instant gratification, instant satisfaction. And there's no difference from being able to buy something on Amazon and have it the next day than needing photography and having something fulfilled. So I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about the cost or lowering the value of what we all do here. But I am talking about creating an efficient system and an efficient network that can help fulfill the jobs that are out there.
Okay, let me add some positive thoughts for photographers that might say, that those jobs are not going to pay as much as I can make going direct. So I could imagine with LCP Media, I can do three things. One, if I have availability in my schedule, I can fill up inventory, my time that is going to go unused, and therefore taking a job in between my other bookings might make total sense.
Sure.
Second is I may very well want to get a lot of experience shooting these individual properties, individual units within multifamily to gain experience also with a tour builder for reasons that we're going to talk about later in the show when we'll put a pause on that to say, stay tuned. There's a reason why you'd want to know how to do tour builder tours. And then I think that probably the third reason, Wojciech, is there's an opportunity for some volume, perhaps, where you don't have to worry about finding the client, getting the sale, invoicing the client, servicing the client. It's just a lot of things that LCP Media will do in behalf of the photographer that might be worth perhaps that trade-off of getting paid less than if you were doing it direct.
Absolutely. And I think when you break it down by hourly, I think the community will find that dollar for dollar, minute for minute, it actually isn't that much. It isn't less than what they're making right now. I think it's still going to be a very lucrative opportunity for them to look into. The other thing I want to mention is that you got to keep in mind these buildings that we're shooting, these are 200 to 300 unit buildings. And there's about 10% maybe turnover happening every couple months. So by the time you actually finish shooting one of these buildings and have every single unit shot, it might be a couple of years, to be honest, before you've created an entire portfolio of every single model unit. And that definitely means consistent work, consistent business, that again, some of the folks in the community can have to fill gaps in their schedule. Yeah.
Awesome. So we talked about, first and foremost, if you own a Ricoh Theta Z1, immediately sign up. 2, you have any experience shooting 3D 360 and are willing to buy a Ricoh Theta Z1, if you get the business, sign up.
Yes.
3, I think so far I've heard, well, the opportunity for hundreds of 360 photographers is primarily in the United States. But if you're watching this and you live outside the United States, what should you do?
Yeah, I would say sign up, because our clients are not only in the US, they're global as well. And as this trend sort of continues to grow and roll out, we will start seeing need overseas, Europe, Asia Pac. So absolutely, if you're shooting, you have the camera, or you're just interested and willing to get one, if we have work for you, sign up 100%. Now, I will say that, please be patient with us when you do sign up. I can't guarantee that there's going to be a job in your area right away, but we are going to be looking at these on a first come, first served basis. So if you do sign up in your town, if you're one of the first to sign up, as soon as we have work in that area, you're going to be one of the first that hears from us. Great.
In addition to 360 photography, I also shoot with an HDR, 2D photography, shoot video. Is there an opportunity for photos and video as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. So outside of Tour Builder Go, we do also offer to our customers Tour Builder Pro, where we send out a professional photographer with a DSLR camera to shoot high-end stills, high-end 360s, or video. So our company, again, we've been around 10 years. We've shot over close to 6,000 multifamily properties across the US. We do have a big network in the US, but we're constantly looking to expand that as well. So if you have other skills and other interests other than just shooting with a one-shot camera, I would suggest and urge you to sign up as well.
So if you're a photographer that's been doing 3D 360 for multifamily home, the typical business model has been you're going to shoot maybe 5 to 7 model types, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, studio, something else. Then the lobby, the exercise space, the pool, the etc. Drive home this point about what's happening in the multifamily space that's going to go from dozens of 3D 360 tours of a property to hundreds of tours.
Absolutely. So Dan, do you think now would be a good time to maybe show them and explain it while I'm showing the different tours?
Sure, we can do that. While you're going to share your screen, I'll remind our viewers to go to www.lcpmedia.com. That's the front door of the website to register for the Tour Builder exchange. Go to www. You can go ahead and share your screen. That would be fine, Wojciech. Go to www.lcpmedia.com/tourbuilderx and sign up. So, excuse me, I'm so sorry. What I've asked you to do is to give us a demo so that we can see what a tour builder, in fact, Wojciech, maybe as you're going through the tour is also to give us some more context about LCP Media. We may have heard of Panoskin. We may have heard of LCP 360. Today, we're talking about LCP Media. it may be a little bit of confusion. So could you walk us through that as well as give us a demo so that we can see if LCP Media engages you to shoot tour builder tours, what the final tour looks like that multifamily property is using?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because we did just go through a major rebrand, and so some of you may know us as Panoskin or LCP 360. So LCP 360 became LCP Media, and the Panoskin platform actually became Tour Builder. So, and then Tour Builder breaks down into two services, which is Tour Builder Pro and Tour Builder Go, where Pro is our professionally shot virtual tours, which I'm about to show you an example of, and Go is our mobile version, mobile capture service that we're starting to offer now. So what I've pulled up here is a kind of typical example of a multifamily property in the US. And this is what their homepage looks like. So I'm gonna start with the homepage just so you can get a good look. And normally these properties will right off the bat identify some sort of gallery or virtual tour. So, you know, this has become a must-have in this industry. First place people go to when they go to these websites is they want to see a virtual tour. They want to know what it feels like to live in this place, what it's gonna, you know, what the amenities are like, because they want a really good feeling. And this is where our professional services come in. This is where we're going to come out and we're going to capture, you know, 7 to 10 areas of all the different amenities, all the different key elements of this property, so that when you're here and you're looking at this, considering moving here, you're going to get a really good sense of, you know, do they have a pool? Is there a rooftop? What are the views like? You know, what's the feeling? Is it high end? Is it, you know, does it have all the amenities that I'm looking for? You know, I might have a, you know, I might be a big, you know, pet fan. I have a dog and I want to be able to have a dog park. You know, do those amenities exist in this property? And that's really the point of this professionally shot virtual tour, is to really get people excited about the property and what it has to offer. And in these tours, we've traditionally, and this is where the shift comes in this industry, right? So we've traditionally shot things like model units inside of our professional tours, right? So as we're shooting the amenities, we're going to come out and we're going to show, I'm going to show you this one actually instead. This one was professionally shot. You can tell by the quality. So we're going to go out and we're going to shoot some of these, you know, model units that are staged, just to give someone a sense of what it would feel like to live here. Now, where the industry is shifting is, you know, I'm looking at this virtual tour, everything looks beautiful. This looks like a great place to live. And these model units that I'm seeing just look, you know, they look beautiful. They look perfect, right? But then I'm wondering in my head, well, what do the units actually look like? If I'm going to live here, I want to know what that exact unit looks like. And that's where these unit level tours come in. So I'm going to show you. So here at the right-hand side of Tour Builder, we have this interactive menu. And this is where folks can, you know, use these different call to actions to learn more about the property, pull up some information. They can apply from here. They can share the tour. But most recently, we added featured units. Featured units, what this does is it actually lists out the actual units that are available at this property at this time in real time. And that's one of the benefits of working with Tour Builder Go, is we've taken the time to make sure that our platform is integrated with the most with the PMS systems, which are the property management systems, which actually feed real-time availability into our platform. So we're able to, not only are we shooting every individual unit, but we're only displaying the ones that are actually currently available, not to confuse prospects. So there's a lot of nuances there to make sure that we're serving our multifamily clients correctly. So again, I clicked on the featured units. Here's a list of them. Let's say the first one on the list is unit 810, the Ladybird Terrace. So if I click view, this will open up unit 810, this exact unit that is for rent at this time. And this one was shot by an on-site team member. So this wasn't shot by an LCP Media employee or actually a photographer, but it was actually shot by someone on site. They go out, they place their Ricoh Theta in the space, just like we would any Google tour, any virtual tour that we're shooting. They capture the 360 content, it gets pushed up into the cloud, and we process the tour within 48 hours. We autonomously build the tour, so there's no building of connections or any of that stuff. Everything happens 100% automatically. And we spit out this virtual tour, we add an interactive floor plan, so the prospect really gets a great example or a great feeling of what it would like to live in this space. So now I know if I'm going to rent unit 810 and this is my bedroom, this is going to be my view.
And I see some features in the bottom left. And
Yes.
then maybe if you go back to the original model unit, you could go down a little bit more detail on what the features were on the right. And then I notice a button about share live.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Tour Builder is a platform we've tried to build in a bunch of useful features that we've noticed that people that interact with these virtual tours find useful and interact with. So this tour itself does not have a menu on the right, so there's no call to actions here, but we do have a menu here at the bottom, and there's a few items that I want to point out. Right now we're in the Tours tab, which shows us the virtual tour, but there's also an Images tab. And the Images tab essentially will show you the still images of this unit and features that the property might find important that they want to share with the prospects. For example, it's a smart unit. It has a Nest system in it. They'll shoot different angles of the property. And all these photos were actually taken using the Tour Builder Go app, because the Go app, not only does it allow you to capture 360s, but you can capture stills and video. So here's a few examples. And if I go on the video section, I probably won't play this because it might be a little bit, let's see if there's any noise. No, actually it's muted. So again, capturing a quick video walkthrough with their cell phone using the Tour Builder Go app, just again, gives the prospect, several choices of media to be able to, use and explore, whichever they feel is most relevant to them. If I hop back here to the main tour, which is our Pro Tour, you get a little bit more features here on the right side. So you still have the tours, images, and videos. There's auto rotate, and we do have an ADA function here, which if you do have a screen reader, it does read off all the descriptions within the tour. So here on the right side, we have, again, featured tours, info section, apply now. There's a map that sort of generates you an area of where the property is located, your standard share, contact, and full screen. One of the things that Dan pointed out is we do have a share now feature, and what that allows us to do, I'm going to open up a unit level tour here. What this allows us to do is it allows anyone interacting with this virtual tour to share a live walkthrough with a friend, family member, or for a leasing agent, they can share it with a prospect. So I'm going to activate this now, and I'm going to invite Dan to a virtual walkthrough of this unit. I'm going to put my information in here. And this comes standard on every one of our Tour Builder tours. So whether it's Pro or Go, the share function exists on all.
So I think of this as a live guided tour. I believe you've branded this as the LCP Connect feature.
Yeah. Tour Builder Connect, actually. Tour Builder Connect.
Tour Builder Connect. Okay.
Yep. So looks very similar to our typical virtual tour, except the menu here is on the left-hand side. So here are your here's the way you can navigate between the different scenes, or of course you can use the arrows. There is some helpful buttons here at the top that allow you to kind of move the tour across. So if someone's not familiar with this sort of click and drag functionality, they can really use these arrows, and it'll give them a smooth transition across the panel. You can see I'm here in this little window, and I'm about to add Dan to this tour as well, so I can walk him through virtually. So I'm going to send Dan a quick email. I got his email right here. Put that in there and fire it off. So as Dan's pulling that up, and we should see him pop up here in this little window once he's logged in. The reason we built this is we wanted leasing agents to have the ability to walk anyone through a virtual tour. So if a prospect calls in and they want to see unit 102 or 108 or whatever unit they want, they can literally send them a link and give them a guided virtual tour while they have them on the phone. I mean, it's the best way to walk someone through a virtual tour. You can point out all the key elements. You can take them into the amenities. You can show them the fitness, the gym, the rooftop. Then you can, show them all the different units. And the cool thing is you can show them an entire building in a 15-minute window. Whereas if you were on site, it could take you up to an hour, maybe even more with that prospect. So at the end of the day, we're really trying to, by offering this type of technology, we're really trying to shave the amount of time that leasing agents and on-site folks are spending with prospects. We're trying to push prospects further down that sales funnel. So if someone's interested, we're trying to get them as interested as possible and identify what unit, now down to the unit that they're interested in, so that when they do show up on site, they're ready to go.
So I see the link. I apologize. My email was offline. My Wi-Fi was offline on my iPhone, but I'm going to go hit the button that says join meeting. It's now asking me for my name and it's asking me for my email address. So I'm entering that. And I have to spell my name right. Oh, that's a plus. And okay, I'm hitting the button that says join meeting. Would you like to access camera and microphone? I'm going to hit allow. And I'm in.
Perfect. If you mute yourself on the app, there you go.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Perfect.
So, yeah, I think that's worth pointing out that you can actually have a live conversation through the Tour Builder Connect live guided tour. But since we are on WGAN TV and using other technologies, I actually just muted myself so that we didn't create a feedback loop.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a great point, because if I have you on the phone and we're not on a Zoom call or we're not on some sort of screen share, then all we need to do is really jump on this. And so for the folks that have been watching, you probably noticed there was no downloading. It was really easy to get access to. It lives literally on every single Tour Builder tour. So any Tour Builder tour you come across, you can literally share and walk someone through and experience this. So as I move, and you probably won't be able to see this, but as I move the tour around left and right, what Dan is seeing on his cell phone is exactly what I'm showing you on my screen. So as I move it, it moves on his phone as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that without the glare, but it's moving in real time.
Yep.
So and it's silky smooth. I know even doing a demo on WGAN TV can be problematic with the technology, and the screen can not be quite so, it might be a little herky-jerky. But looking at on my iPhone, it's a silky smooth experience.
Excellent. Yeah, we
and I notice on my screen it's very simple. So I have 3 buttons. I can turn on and off my mic, I can turn on and off my camera, and I can hang up. So there's really nothing to confuse me on the screen. So you're totally in charge of walking me through this unit.
Exactly. Yeah, we try to keep everything as simple as possible. So if you are sharing this with, I don't know, your significant other or a parent or anybody, literally they're just joining the link, putting their information in, and boom, they're in the tour. And
so
as soon as
I
they're
didn't
done,
need to pre-download an app. It's all working on a browser. So smartphone, laptop, desktop, tablet.
Absolutely. And you can actually initiate these calls from your cell phone. So if you're on apartments.com and you stumble upon one of our Tour Builder tours and you want to share it with someone, you can initiate this right from your cell phone as well.
Okay, great. Is there anything else to show us here? We're going to go ahead and end that meeting.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll end this. Yep.
Okay. I'll go hang up too. Thanks for the demo. That was very cool.
My pleasure.
Okay, so we've now taken a look at Tour Builder. Unless there was something else to show us on the front end of Tour Builder, it would be great to see how you actually capture the 360s and even photos and video with the Tour Builder Go app paired with the Ricoh Theta Z1 camera.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So what I have teed up here is I do have a kit here with me in my room, and I'm going to show you guys how this works. I am going to screen share directly from my cell phone because that's where the app lives. So give me just 1 second. I'm going to turn on my.
Okay, and so while Wojciech is setting up, what you mentioned a kit. Maybe you could tell us what does the kit include? And I imagine this is the kit that you send to a property manager, and the photographer might already have nearly everything that you're about to describe.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the kit, so what we did was we went out into the market and tried to find the best pieces that we could think of to put inside of just an easy kit for someone that's just starting to learn how to shoot 360s or virtual tours, to make this as easy as possible for them. So really the kit, what that includes is it includes a Ricoh Theta Z1 camera. It includes the monopod and a cell phone holder. We also recently just added an external battery to the kit as well, because we realized that the battery on the Ricoh Z1 lasts maybe about an hour and a half if you're using it, and then it kind of dies. So we found a really great external battery that we're using that allows for essentially all day shooting, keeps the camera going and working. And so, if you're out there doing it a full day shoot, it'll last, which is fantastic. And then we wrap all that up in a nice hard case to protect the equipment. And that's what, when I'm referencing the kit, that's kind of what I mean. So most of you, if you have a Ricoh Theta Z1, you probably already have a tripod or a monopod. Most likely you have a carrying case. The two extra things that might come in handy would be an external battery, which we can absolutely recommend one, and a cell phone holder. Because one of the pieces that we require you to do is we require you to attach your cell phone to the tripod during the capture process. So you're literally putting your phone into the cell phone holder, you're initiating the 360 from your cell phone, you're walking out of the room, allowing it to capture the 360, and then moving the camera to the next spot.
Do you want to physically show us that? You have an interesting physical setup. Sure. Yes, but not just yet, right?
No, I can. So here, maybe I can. Let me stop sharing for a second.
Sorry, Wojciech. I was thinking, because you actually have the iPhone connected directly to the monopod. And yes. I want to say this is the first time I've actually ever seen any 3D 360 camera platform do this workflow, and it apparently works. So I thought it's probably worth taking a look at.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have our Ricoh Theta Z1 here, our monopod. There's the cell phone holder, and it literally sits right underneath the Theta, and it does not obstruct the pano. At the bottom, a standard nadir will do just fine. So really, this is the setup. There's nothing different about it. There's reasons why we want the cell phone next to the camera, because we have some interesting technology running on the back end. When you do publish your photos up into the cloud, we are capturing information, some from your cell phone, some from the camera, and it allows us to create these tours autonomously, meaning no connecting, no arrow work, none of that stuff. There's literally a computer brain back there that's putting this all together automatically. So that's part of the reason why the camera or your cell phone has to sit next to the camera while it's shooting.
And just to obsess with a bit of geek here, do you need to know how high the camera is on the monopod?
How high it is? No, we don't.
You don't. And you don't need to know where the phone is on the pole.
We do not. We do not. Yeah, we just ask that you put it literally below the first, section of the monopod. So as long as it's not way up top, because then it'll obstruct the image, and weight at the bottom because you don't want to be leaning down to initiate the tour.
Yeah.
So no requirements there.
Is that just a standard phone holder for your car?
Yes, yeah, as long as you can find, so we have these nifty cell phone holders that we found that we can absolutely, get out, send to all the folks that want to participate in the program. Essentially, it just has a clamp and it attaches right to the tripod.
Yeah,
that's all
if you would, when we're done with the show, send me a link. I'd love to put it in the We Get Around Network forum with the show, WeGetAroundNetworkForum.com or WGANForum.com, and we'll get a link. Because even if you're shooting for any other service and you've been moving your phone out of the room and then all of a sudden you have connectivity issues, which happens, this is a great tip. You can put your phone underneath the camera, and a standard Nadir patch, a logo patch covering the tripod covers the camera as well. So I thought that was just a pretty quick, cool workflow. Had not seen that from anyone else. Okay, so I've interrupted you. You were about to show us how to create, using the Tour Builder Go app to create a Tour Builder tour.
Yes. So I'm going to log in here into the Tour Builder Go app. Just give me one quick second. And so the first screen that I'm going to see is kind of a welcome screen. And again, we love to keep things very basic, very easy, right? As easy as it comes, because we don't want to overcomplicate this process. So I'm greeted with a welcome. I'm ready to start building. First question it's going to ask me, what kind of content will you capture? So you got a few options here, 360s, still photos, or video. So we're going to start with the 360s because that's what most of, what we're kind of talking about here today. But as I kind of showed in the demo, you do have that option to do stills and video as well.
And if I may, I just want to give some context. So, when you go to when you go to lcpmedia.com/tourbuilderx, if and when there is an opportunity for you, then this literally is the workflow. And Wojciech is showing how super easy and super fast it is to pair the Tour Builder Go app with a Ricoh Theta Z1, and it's almost as 360 3D photographers will look at this and go, "Wow, this is supercilious, easy peasy." So but I think it's important to actually see. So that if you did need to buy a Ricoh Theta Z1 to use the Tour Builder Go app for projects that you're doing for LCP Media, you can see how easy it is to do this workflow.
Absolutely. And again, we want to keep things simple, and we also want to make sure that the workflow for our community and folks that want to shoot for Tour Builder Go, that this process is easy. I want to try to get this down to, I don't want you spending more than 10 minutes in every single unit that you're shooting, so that you're literally in and out. You're doing this quickly, it's efficient, you're capturing what you need to capture, and then you're getting paid for your work. So again, we logged in. First question is, what are we capturing? I'm going to hit 360 tour. And when you do join up and you are shooting a job for us, you're going to have properties that you're assigned to or authorized to shoot for, right? So this is kind of a demo account. So I have a bunch of different, demo properties in here. So I'm just going to select one from this list. I'm going to do 6600 Port Road. So I select the property that I'm at. I'm going to click continue. Now it's going to ask me, what am I capturing? Are you capturing an amenity or an apartment? So I'm going to hit apartment. And from here, it's going to ask me for some information about the apartment that you're shooting. We only really require the unit number. That's the most important. The other information is, kind of cherry on top. If we can get it, we'll ask for it. Otherwise, you can kind of just put in the unit number. So let's do, 1206, for example. You can define the number of beds, baths, or the unit size, but that isn't necessary at this point yet. So I'm going to click continue. Now what the app is going to do is it's going to attempt to connect to the Z1 camera. Now, if you haven't connected to it before, what it's going to do, it's going to show you a nifty video how to connect this camera. to the app. And if you've used these cameras before, you know it's pretty simple. We gotta make sure it's powered on. I'm gonna power on my camera here.
So just a reminder to sign up, lcpmedia.com/tour builder X, TOURBUILDER, and then the letter X.
Perfect. So now that my camera is on, I'm going to click continue. I've seen the video. I know what I'm going to do. It's going to give me the ability to scan the QR code underneath the camera. So most of you are probably familiar with this. If you're not, this is kind of how the process works. You kind of have to align the QR code there. Once you're able to scan that, it's going to ask you to join. We are connecting our camera and our cell phone, or our cell phone or a camera via Wi-Fi. So if you're connected to a Wi-Fi network on your cell phone, it's going to disconnect from that and connect to the Ricoh Theta Z1. Once we're connected, you're going to get a preview that says swipe, you know, you can swipe the 360 and you can select to never see this message again. But I'm just going to hit got it. And now, as you can see, I get a live preview here of, here's my room where I'm sitting, of the 360. And so at this point, just like any Google tour, you're going to want to start at the beginning of, let's say, you know, right outside the door and make your way into the apartment. As soon as you get that first spot where you're ready to shoot, you hit that center button. So right now it says it's set for 5 seconds, but I can hold it and give myself a little bit more time to get out of the room. So what I would do at this point is put my cell phone onto the tripod, connected to the cell phone holder, select my time. 5 seconds is enough. I'm going to click the center button to initiate the capture. It's going to count down. It's going to tell you to leave the room.
Smile.
Yeah. And it's going to make a little, you know, it's going to make that Ricoh Theta Z1 noise that is captured. Exactly. So at this point, you can actually preview the 360. And as you can tell, so I want to point this out because I think Dan, you know, Dan was interested in this too. So you can see the cell phone holders in there a little bit, but it doesn't obstruct it that much where you can actually put a nadir patch there and you'll be totally fine. So,
and in fact, you don't need to do the patch because you're just shooting this for LCP Media, which will take care of all the post-production.
Yeah, you literally don't have to worry about a thing. No editing, no post-production, no patching, no error work, none of that stuff. Once you're done taking your photos, you're going to hit publish, and that is the end of what we require you to do to fulfill your job. So once I took the pano, it's going to ask me, where was this scene taken? We do have some predefined spaces, but you can put in a custom space if you'd like, but let's just say living room for now, and I can click looks good. Once I hit looks good, the camera initiates back on, turns back on, and at this point, we would take the camera, move it over to our next spot, and initiate the next shot. Counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's going to capture another 360. So,
Awesome.
and you got,
I'm going to take it off screen share unless you had something else to show us on this.
just one more little piece here. So I'm going to say looks good. I'm going to click the preview and publish button. So this allows you to preview the tour that you just shot. So it kind of gives you, you know, kind of like a summary of what you just took. So if you're almost done, or if you're done with shooting the virtual tour, you can actually see how many 360 shots you've taken, how many photos and videos. So if there's 0 photos, that means you've taken 0 photos. You can always click that add button, add a photo. Once you're done.
Are you adding photos, excuse me, are you adding photos using your smartphone?
You are, yes.
And
yeah,
this is either iOS or Android.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, and I unplugged my camera or my phone a little bit prematurely here. Let me see if I can get this back connected. Oh, there it is. Okay. So at this point, essentially, if you wanted to add a photo, a still photo, so let's say we ask you to not only do a virtual tour, but take some extra shots, you would use your cell phone at this time, click the plus button. You can choose from an album or just click take photo. Then your cell phone, you know, with your cell phone, you essentially line up your shot, take your photo, That's a terrible photo. And just click use photo. As soon as I click that, it'll add it to the tour there. So if I click back on the preview and publish, now you can see 2 360s and 1 photo.
Same thing for the video.
Same thing for the video, same exact process. Once you're done, you hit publish tour and you're done. So it's going to ask you now. So this is I'm glad this actually happened, because it's going to ask you, do you want to publish over cellular? As you remember, we just connected our Wi-Fi. Our Wi-Fi connection is taken up by the camera. So actually you do not have to publish right away. When you can actually finish, you can save your tours in your drafts. And then as soon as you're done for the day and you go home, that's when you can click upload once you're connected to that Wi-Fi. Because what it's doing, the Ricoh Theta is actually putting all of the 360s and stills and videos onto your cell phone device. So you don't need the images off the camera anymore. So you don't have to download this stuff, upload it anywhere. You literally just have to get to a good Wi-Fi spot and hit upload, and you're done.
And it's probably worth pointing out, because if you've never had to use a Ricoh Theta Z1 workflow, you don't really fully appreciate what Wojciech just said. The power of that Tour Builder Go app paired with the Ricoh Theta Z1 is to make this process super easy and super fast without having to think about a workflow of, oh, okay, how do I move my 360s over to my phone so I can then upload them to a website. So congratulations on that. Super exciting to see that. I'm going to, take it off share. So I want to say at this moment, because before you show us how a tour builder tour is built, just so we can see that, it's not, if you're engaged as an independent contractor by LCP Media, you don't need to know how to do the post-production, but there's reasons to know, and I'm going to ask Wojciech to take us through that. But what I think what I just wanted to put a period and paragraph into your demo of shooting 360s is for our audience of real estate photographers, 360 photographers, 3D photographers, professional photographers. What you just showed us is super easy, super fast. We immediately get it. It's not hard.
Yep.
But a big but. What I would imagine is that when you have multifamily properties across America and you ask them to have their agents shoot tours, a large majority of them actually come back and say, no, we don't want to. Yeah, we hear you, it's easy, but no, they're salespeople. They need to be focused on business development, not trying to learn yet another skill. So yes. We'd like to engage LCP Media to shoot hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of individual units within multifamily across America. So it's kind of like good news, good news. The good news for our audience is you get it. It's super easy. It's super fast to create a tour builder tour. You get assigned an apartment building, multifamily building. You're going to be doing dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of tours. And LCP Media clients are happy because LCP Media is actually handling the arranging for all the photography, all the digital assets. Is that kind of a fair assessment of what's happening? Is you built something super easy, but despite that, clients push back and say, no, we'd rather just pay you to go shoot the photography. Can you handle that across America, around the globe?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's 100% accurate, because we built this thing thinking, okay, great, anyone can do it. They're going to want to do it. And the first question is, hey, do you have a network that can do it for us? And that's part of the reason why I'm here, is because there is a big opportunity and there's just going to be a huge need for this. And we're definitely talking about thousands, not hundreds. This is tens of thousands of model or apartments that eventually will be captured by somebody that have to be online, because that's where the trend is heading. That's where multifamily, that's where this entire industry is going towards.
And Wojciech, I imagine being in business since 2011, doing this kind of photography, you have built trusted relationships with lots of multifamily properties in the greater Chicago area where the headquarters of LCP Media is located. And those clients, turns out they're not just located in Chicago, they're across America, they're around the globe. They have an insatiable appetite for content creation. And despite LCP Media creating this amazing Tour Builder Go app that we all look at and go, oh, this is easy, anybody could do this. But it turns out, no, we have a skill that we just accept that this is easy. And your clients really would just rather engage LCP Media to
do it for them.
To create digital content
Yes.
across the city, across America, around the globe.
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny because I sometimes forget how second nature this is to me, because I've been making virtual tours for the last 10 years of my life. So when I talk to someone and tell them, look how simple it is, it might not actually be that simple. So we definitely cannot take our skill sets for granted. We are 100% needed, and this industry is going to need people like you guys, like this entire community, to help push them forward to this next sort of digital virtual age. So yeah, very excited. There's going to be a ton of opportunity, and like Dan mentioned, go to our website, sign up, get on the list if you have any interest in working with us.
lcpmedia.com/TourBuilderX. There's no cost to sign up. And just truly, the first come, first serve, sign up. Let LCP Media know in the brief questions that they ask you is, do you have a Ricoh Theta Z1? Are you willing to buy a Ricoh Theta Z1 if you get gigs? And oh, by the way, do you own any other 360 cameras? And maybe at some point they'll ask you about your other skill set of photos, video, drone, etc. I asked to see a demo of Tour Builder on the back end. Why should our audience care?
So the back end really is where we collect all the data, where our entire management system is, and really that's the heart of the Tour Builder platform. So a lot of our customers that utilize us, they're not utilizing us for one tour or two tours. We're shooting entire portfolios for them. So we'll have a client that has 500, 600, 1,000 properties in their portfolio. So they have to have a place where they can go, they can access all of their tours, they can see what they look like in real time, and they can check the analytics, right? And they can look at things on a global level as well.
But excuse me, Wojciech, you're not engaging the photographer to actually do the back end production. You're engaging them to shoot, to create content. So why should they care about how Tour Builder back end works?
So today, the Tour Builder Go app is exclusive to our customer base in the multifamily vertical. But in the very near future, we are planning on releasing Tour Builder Go to anyone that wants to use it, resell it, work with it, similar to the way that most folks in the network use Matterport, right? You sign up for Matterport and you're reselling it. You'll essentially be able to do the same exact thing with Tour Builder Go eventually. It's not something that we're offering today. Today, we're building the network. We're looking for people that are willing to shoot and make money creating the virtual tours. But eventually, the app will allow you to create your own virtual tours. So seeing the back end, seeing how it works, and seeing all the benefits that Tour Builder, the platform, provides, I think it's important for people to know, because when they're out there selling these services themselves, they have to understand the ins and outs of all the different features.
Cool. Can you show us?
Yeah. I'll do
and while Wojciech is getting set up to give us a demo of the back end of Tour Builder, I'll point out, Wojciech let me know that if you sign up as a potential photographer for LCP Media for the Tour Builder Exchange program, again, free to sign up, you'll also get notified as soon as Tour Builder is available as a service that you can build your own tours if that's what you'd like to do.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. So if you're part of our network, you will get essentially access and use faster than anybody else. So definitely recommend going to our site and signing up. So here's a quick example. So 7, this is the property I was showing previously, but now we're on the back end. We've logged into Tour Builder, again, formerly known as Panoskin. A lot of you do know it as Panoskin. Now it's rebranded to Tour Builder. And Tour Builder Insights is really the reporting and all the different powerful information that we're collecting within these virtual tours.
So your screen's a little bit small. Before you jump into the demo, could you please just read off the menu on the left side and then the menu at the top because it is a little bit small, and I'll enlarge my screen too.
Sure. So on the left, there's a dashboard tab, a create tab, my clients, my users, and account settings. You know, a lot of this information is available on our support page as well. So if anyone wants to dive into this, again, sign up, reach out to us. We're more than happy to walk you through this in more detail. But what I'm going to kind of focus us on is this sort of middle section here. So this is the 7. This is a virtual tour of a property in Austin. This is the professionally shot virtual tour here.
And I just, if I may, could you just read off it on the top row going across, because someone may be looking at this on their smartphone and it's a little bit hard to see these tabs.
Sure. So the first tab is tour. This gives you a view of the actual virtual tour that's live on their website. The second tab is analytics. This is where we're capturing data such as number of visits, views, clicks, and conversions. Clicks are essentially anything that a user is interacting with inside of the Tour Builder virtual tour. So if they're clicking on those menu items, we're capturing all that information. The next tab is reporting. Reporting goes into a much more granular report and detail about who is looking at the tours, but not only who, how, not well, who I'm going to say that carefully, who in terms of where they're located, what state they're coming from. So you can see this property, this makes perfect sense. You can see that the 2 states that are highlighted here that are getting the most views are California and Texas. This property is located in Austin. So it is Texas. And, you know, from this map, I can see that there's probably people that live in California that are thinking about moving to Texas, to Austin, which there's a huge movement of people going down to Austin. That's probably where those visits are coming from. So we're capturing things like total visit duration, how much time people are spending on the tour, you know, again, where they're coming from, whether it's from the website, a direct link, or other sources. And then, of course, we're capturing the towns and different menu clicks, whether they're clicking on the featured units. Now, this is important. The featured units, this means folks are clicking on the unit level tours. They're wanting more information about the unit level. And I'm going to scroll back up really quick. The next tab is edit. This is where you can come in and edit the virtual tours. Now, this isn't something that we normally give access to our clients to. They do not build their own virtual tours. However, we do. And when we do offer a reseller version, now we do have a version of this available now, but once we offer the full version to the community, you'll be able to actually come in here and customize your tours if you decide to do that. And there's a lot of menu items in there, so I'm not going to go through each of those. That's going to take a long time. But users gives you the users that are that have access to the tour. So if you're a property management company and you have multiple, you know, folks either on the regional level or a property level, you can give them access. Units, this is actually where the unit level tours live. So these are the ones that are shot by the Tour Builder Go app. So again, you have the Ladybird, which I actually showed you guys earlier in the demo, the stadium, and each of these, when I click on them, takes me to that unit tour within the Tour Builder dashboard. So you can actually click on reporting or analytics, and you can see how many views and visits this specific unit got. So there's been over 300 visits with 1,800 views. That's a huge number, right? People are spending a lot of time on these unit level tours. And so that's the type of information we're capturing. Property management's a little bit more geared towards our multifamily clients. I'm going to skip that. There's a share button here where it gives you embed instructions, the tour URL. We even generate a QR code if they choose to do that. This is the meeting tool, which is the LCP Connect, which I showed you. We moved to the front end. Before it lived exclusively back here. So you'd have to log in to access that. Now it's on the front end, anyone gets access to it. And then the last tab is billing, and that, is tied to your subscription and what you're paying for the tour.
Awesome. So I've taken you off of screen share. Before we wrap up, I've just watched an hour of the show. I have a Ricoh Theta Z1. I'm willing to buy a Ricoh Theta Z1. I have a different 360 or 3D camera. Give me the pitch. Why should I be signing up with lcpmedia.com/TourBuilderX? Why it's free, but why sign up? What's the urgency of getting signed up today?
Sure. Yeah. No. Well, it is free, right? So it costs you nothing to sign up. But really, the point here is that I'm trying to drive home is that there is a huge need for this in the multifamily vertical and in commercial real estate in general. And it is something that if we don't, it's totally underserved. And so there's a ton of need to have folks come out, shoot these virtual tours in a quick, simple, fast way so that these tours get published online as soon as possible. And we're seeing this movement in multifamily specifically. So we're trying to be proactive about it. We know that there's a need coming. We work again with some of the largest management companies in the US, meaning we have jobs across the nation. And not only that, but TourBuilder Go has been built in a way that it is integrated with all the crucial systems, all the different integrations that are necessary for us to create a fluid and a fluid experience for our customers, right? So some people might be thinking, well, I can go directly and sell these virtual tours directly to these properties. Unfortunately, unless you have those connections that we've taken years to make, it's going to be hard to get in. There are going to be small properties and small buildings that might be okay without having all these connections with PMSs. However, we've spent a lot of time making sure everything is there. So we've created a frictionless, easy to use, easy process. And there's a huge need and a huge opportunity here for folks that want to, make some money shooting these types of virtual tours.
And I think I also heard two things. One is you have existing clients today. LCP Media has existing clients today that have a need for TourBuilder tours to be created. And some of these clients would rather engage LCP Media to engage photographers across America, even around the world, to shoot the TourBuilder tours rather than have their people do it themselves. And then I think second is that you have a lot of potential clients or on the edge of their seat where you're anticipating the demand. So you're trying to get ahead of the curve to build out your network. Even though you have a lot of professional photographers as part of your network, you really do need photographers that own a Ricoh Theta Z1 or are willing to buy a Ricoh Theta Z1, or at some point when LCP Media builds out the other 360 cameras to be. So you want people to sign up today because you have actual. In fact, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about your LCP Media is, in addition to seeking photographers, 360 photographers today across America, even to some extent around the globe, LCP Media is as a silver member of the We Get Around Network is going to be placing help wanted posts in the We Get Around Network forum to alert for specific markets when those opportunities come up and somebody hasn't already pre-signed up. So if you kind of want to preclude that help wanted ad for a Ricoh Theta Z1 photographer in your market, sign up today so that you're already being contacted rather than you have to proactively look. And then all of a sudden there's a lot more photographers that are writing in for that opportunity.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Over the next, the course of the next several days, we will start posting help wanted ads within the We Get Around network for specific places where we need help right now. And so we expect that just to continue to expand. So definitely urge anyone that's interested to sign up today, so we can get you the information you need, get you on our list, and as soon as we get jobs, we will contact you.
www.lcpmedia.com/tour builder X. In addition, I would say for our WGAN TV viewers, if you have not yet signed up for the We Get Around Network Forum, it's totally free. And that means you can sign up to get free alerts when LCP Media does these Help Wanted posts. Second is that WGAN also offers a free text broadcast service. So every time there is a Help Wanted post in the We Get Around network, in addition that you may get alerts by email, if you want to sign up, totally free, it's in the United States and Canada, you can get text alerts for every Help Wanted post that LCP Media does. That's a free service offered by We Get Around Network. So go to the We Get Around Network forum, WGANforum.com, sign up for the forum. You'll automatically get an email with 50 plus free membership benefits for me. And you'll also see in one of those benefits, be able to sign up for our free text service. Wojciech, before we go, anything to add?
No, go to our website and sign up. We're excited to get folks and partnering with you guys and working together and see where this all goes. We're really excited about the change in this exciting unit level need that people are having. So yeah, thank you for your time. Thanks for having me on the show, and yeah. Thanks,
you bet.
guys.
Thanks for being on the show, Wojciech. Appreciate it. We've been visiting with LCP Media Chief Executive Officer Wojciech Kalambasa. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum, and you've been watching WGAN.